Alrighty. Good morning, good evening, good night. Welcome into NFT Live on the Web3 Network for the last NFT Live of the week, the last show where we get to hear your beautiful voices. You get to see our beautiful faces. I get to sit here with Gif Dead and Biggie Poppins here on our round square table, triumvirate.
What an intro.
Man. I'm excited. Can you tell this is a good day for me? It's a good day.
Yeah. Well, why is it a good day, Q? What happened?
Because I got to listen to y'all talking the GM Web3 morning show, man. I always like when I get my listening cap on instead of just like spewing nonsense.
Yeah, we didn't have to put you to work first thing in the morning. Afternoon for you, first thing in the afternoon. Wouldn't want Q to have to do any work first thing in the afternoon.
Gifted's in his bag early, as you can tell, folks. We appreciate you showing up here early. Biggie, how are you doing today, my man? What hat you got on today? What's going on
here?
Dude,
so this is my Gitcoin hat. Support the troops, the devs, the builders, Just thought I'd give them some love. And I'm honestly, my vibes have been awesome. They've been great.
Thank you.
It was only until I had to check in on you two because you weren't like checking in on the channel. I was like, where are these fucking guys? I was like, they're still in the fucking Web3 show. And there I go. I fucking, to my dismay, I go and check and I find out that you guys were talking music NFTs and you had Black Dave on stage. Black Dave on stage, man. I'm a fan. I'm besides myself, man. It's like there's no chill in this fucking space. You can't like take a break, even like go hike with your dog for a little bit. You just kind of like disconnect because just things keep rolling in. But I'm so happy about it. It sounds like it was a really good episode, man.
It was.
I'm really bummed that I missed it, dude.
I feel like Gift should have messaged you or something. That's weird. Aren't we friends?
Yeah, Gift.
Look.
No alfalfa for me.
you go walk your dog, straight to jail. You sleep on the show, straight to jail. Okay? Like, no, look. It was an absolutely amazing show. And the good news, Biggie, is that you got a couple shout outs in there. Well, the real good news is not only can you go listen to it on Twitter, on the Web3 Twitter, but now we're on Spotify and iTunes and all of this stuff. Jacob is probably going to have it up on Spotify in an hour, less than an hour. He's been so good about getting all this audio out to these audio platforms. So that's the real good news, is that Web3 Network on Spotify is there. And it's also in our link tree, Q. I added the Spotify link. It looks amazing. So
nice.
In our Twitter bio can now take you straight there as well. But yes, you mentioned Black Dave, who it's
fucking fire, dude. You guys listen to him at all?
Dude,
I have a favorite track.
I own one of his early. Yeah, I own one or two of his early NFTs. He was so instrumental on my journey, getting involved, and he's one of the most authentic pioneers in the space. He's a truly talented artist musician. He's got his own style. It's this crazy like anime hip hop infused like style. It's badass. It's got like rock and roll sort of metal themes in it too. Fucking love his music. But beyond that, dude, the guy's had more impact and like onboarded more people in the space than almost anybody out there. And I really, really mean from the bottom of my heart that like, dude, if you don't know who Black Dave is, you should know who he is. If you're in the space, he's one of the OG pioneers who has done more for the space than anybody else, and a tremendously talented dude. And so, yeah, having people like that on the stage, and then, but beyond him, there was even just like a litany of absolutely amazing people that
like
showed
Eli.
up. For
okay, now you're just fucking rubbing salt on the wound. Stop it, Gif. Fucking stop it. I'm gonna go listen to it, okay? And then I'm gonna just like feel even more crappy because I'm like, shit, I would have loved to ask them this. But hopefully we can have him on the show. Maybe next time we can have him live over here. I'm a fan. Yeah, Black Dave is the shit, dude. You guys should check him out.
It's a mission for me. I will get Black Dave on NFT Live. And I won't mention the list of other legends that graced the GM Web3 stage this morning, like Cast Vegas, like Talk Time, like Eli.
Yeah. I like Eli's
David
thoughts
Hume.
on the space, man. And Black Dave's been on the network before. So we had Music Mondays, obviously our long-running show on Web3 in Lad City at the time. And Black Dave was one of the artists that was featured on Music Mondays as he was like kind of, I don't think first starting. I think he had been in the space. He's definitely an OG. I think Lad's token was launched around the same time that Black Dave's token was launched. So been following his moves for a while. I couldn't get away with nearly half the things Black Dave says about himself. This guy is just like, I'm a fucking genius and I deserve to have money. I would sound like an absolute asshole if I said that, but it sounds great coming out of his mouth.
Yeah, it does. And yeah, Pat Dimitri also, man, I'm not going to sit here and list for Biggie all of the amazing people.
It just fucking killed me.
I mean, yeah, wine bags. Yeah, I won't sit here and just list all of them, but it was a seriously great show.
All right, so hey, this is going to be a seriously great show. I want to share my screen really quick, and of course, you guys know we want to get as many people in this chat as possible. So I just linked the Twitter tweet here for you, the Daddy Elon's app that we always put out once a day when we get these shows out. So it definitely helps if you go in there and comment. I heard we had like a bit. Okay, there was a big hoopla on Twitter over the past 24 hours about private. Did y'all see that? Did y'all see like going private, making sure that you like go to private so nobody can retweet you? Apparently the algos.
Let me say this. Let me say this. I am actually proud to be the only person in crypto Twitter that's not private right now. I actually think that makes me more rare and more scarce than all y'all.
Me and Biggie, make it be a Biggie. You're not private, are you? Not private yet.
I don't know what I read a little bit about that. Like I know Zeneca did it because he was getting like retweeted a lot and like, but I got no clue what that's about. But I mean, I feel pretty confident about my Twitter. Like I got like 2FA on and everything. And like, I don't know, like, should we be worried? Should I be worried?
I think it has more to do with the engagement that everybody is
SEO
feeling, or the lack of engagement that everybody's feeling since Elon took over.
It's a trend that people are like, oh, I'm going to get more engagement if I do this dumb shit and like, whatever, like no hate if you're doing it, good for you. I'm not a bandwagoner, so I don't care about it. I think it's dumb.
Exactly, man. Like I feel like this thing is. I mean, I get it if that's what you're doing, and I mean, of course, we all want like we're producing content. We want people to find us, appreciate it, and if you do appreciate it, like and subscribe. But I'm not gonna go out there fucking on this bandwagon that you're talking about, and just like scrounging around for fucking likes and shit. Like I don't need to go private for that. I'd rather be just known as somebody. If you like me, follow me. If you don't, fuck yeah.
Yeah,
it's all good.
Fuck yeah, Biggie. I'm with you, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Our vibe, our tribe to everybody here in the chat. We see you. What was your friend's name again? That watches on Twitch, Biggie. Is it Pablo?
Yeah, Pablo.
Okay.
I think I saw him in the stream.
I see you there. Zoo NFT, OVOT, Mike Erlinson saying best NFT show. Let's go. Nox Darkness, Don R. Where did the week go? And then Carter is saying Twitter API going to paid access as well. Listen, I was pretty bullish on Twitter here being taken over by Elon, but damn, if they continue to, although we don't use the Twitter APIs for any reason, so I guess that doesn't affect us. But my experience has been average to say the least. So hopefully your experience isn't average on this show. We do appreciate, again, if you guys like, it helps us get the word out. Green Day for crypto as we get into the NFT Live bag check. We have a green day because we had the Federal Reserve come out yesterday and raise interest rates only by 0.25. Apparently, everybody likes the fact that it was only raised by 25 basis points. Crypto is kind of teetering there. We've been crabbing for about 7 days. We've been going up overall for the month, but really this is like as you can see here on the charts on the right, the crypto market kind of works in tandem a lot of times, and you can see most of these charts are up and to the right with that strong spike there around the federal interest rates. So apparently everyone feels positive about this interest rate news. I don't know why. I thought that was what was predicted, I guess, is the argument. Biggie, do you got any takes on the interest rate hike and how it affects us short term?
Yeah, exactly. That was a key word there, short term. So no, I don't have really any thoughts. I'm still cautiously optimistic. But hey, like you said, it's always nice to see some green because I feel it lifts everybody's spirits up. So I'm all for it, Wee! That's my comment. Wee!
Jack's Hideaway. I think all of it. Only me and Gif are part of this conversation. I think, Biggie. I don't know if you're paying for playing on the Twitter app, but Jack's Hideaway saying, have you guys noticed any benefit to the blue check? I will say that I noticed an extremely sharp decrease when they started this rollout of the blue check in people that are engaging. So I think I've seen a positive like engagement ratio or whatever, you know, term or data metric you want to use. But I definitely feel like I'm being seen more because I have the blue check. Don't really see many I don't use any other features beyond that. I don't use the mobile the mobile polygon or pentagon image. Hexagon image, yeah. I need a pentagon one.
Yeah. Well, so one of the things that I know happens, besides the fact that people are now looking for that even more. So here, like think of the psychology of it. When a lot of people have them, and that shows an intent and an investment, you automatically, like when you're going through DMs or you're scrolling through, like you're gonna start to be biased yourself, whether you know it or not. It might be subconscious. You're gonna be subconsciously biased to be taking those more seriously and paying attention to the blue check. So that's one. You are getting more visibility just through the psychology of like people's own behaviors. But then one specific thing I know from a platform level is that when you're in Twitter Spaces, it pushes all the blue checks up to the top. So if you're just hanging out in Twitter Spaces hoping to get visibility and people to find you, and you don't have a blue check, you're going to be buried all the way at the bottom. Yeah, so I don't know if you've seen that.
So that's the reason, huh?
Well, that's one example. And so I'm sure that they're going to be doing more things like that. They're just kind of like small little bumps in visibility that just kind of like if you're paying, then you get a small little, you know, notch up here or there. But I think they're going to add up somehow. But again, to me, it's almost like the bigger behavioral pattern of like, you know, I'm much more cautious or skeptical or less interested in engaging with people that, you know, aren't paying for a blue check. And it's the same thing as what, no, this is the same thing as what Apple achieved with the blue versus green text.
I knew you were going to go there. I knew you were going to attack us Android people.
Dude, it's fucking smart, dude. Man. It's using people's psychology and our physiology, even like the way that you react to colors and differentiate and contrast things. The way that we work as humans, they're using this to play us and like trigger our dopamine and our actions, man. But it's really powerful shit, because when you scale this out across all of humanity and everybody on Twitter's behavior patterns, like it creates these tremendous network effects, right? So it's like, it's fucking smart, man. And I think that's going to be one of the bigger things, is that like the farther out that we get from here, like we hit a point, and it's an inflection point with this blue check mark thing. The farther out that we get, I think it's going to get harder and harder to take people seriously that don't have it.
Well, they're making it that way. It's pay for play. Like if you're going to be on the Twitter app and your job is to, you know, be a personality, not job, but like you're a part of this space, and that's, you know, we're content creators. We need to be on Twitter. They're making it that way. I didn't want to do that. You know, I really didn't. But if you're gonna shadow ban me because I'm not paying, well, fuck. Go ahead, Biggie.
So here's a comment. Just playing devil's advocate. I totally understand, especially like you guys, the main faces, boss man of the show. Like, of course, you have to have the blue check. We are trying to grow here and get eyeballs, right? I wonder though, like if this is not something that can eventually blow up in their face, right? Like that it becomes such a must have. I don't know. Like I always think about it in terms of music, right? Like I always liked going to those like grimy kind of like, you know, around backstreet, like music stores, right? Where you found like the underground music scene and stuff. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm underground and you guys are mainstream.
There'll be this is an interesting point. It's an interesting point. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, right? And I think you'll start to see people that play just like it's actually the same exact thing that I just did with the going private. I tweeted out last night, like actually pretty cool to be the only person that's not private on crypto Twitter right now. You know what I mean? Like there's always going to be that sort of like contrarian move and people that go that way. So I think to your point, Biggie, there's going to be people that kind of play in this like, oh, I'm not the corporate established, you know, I'm the rebellious, you know.
They're getting banned, so they're not getting seen, you know.
Well, but that'll be part of the game. That's what Biggie's saying, right? It's like you'll have to know somebody to get into the thing, you know, the back doorway, right? It's like that. I think that will have some kind of movement or allure to it. But I think also, as
I like being a rebel.
A lot of great.
Yeah, the rebels.
Chat is lit this morning.
But Asmodai making a great point, which was my initial problem with this whole thing is that the blue check is supposed to verify a person, who they are, so that you don't get scammed or follow the wrong people or click malicious links. It's supposed to be not just this like sort of status symbol or a pay for play situation. Now, like to Asmodai's point, like we don't know how good they're actually vetting any of this. So whether or not it's actually means that you're a legit person, like not anybody, but a lot of people can pay $8 a month. So scammy people who are social engineering shit that are putting tons of time and energy and a bunch of their resources into creating these extremely sophisticated social engineering, frauds, like they can pay $8 a month because they're making a shit ton of money scamming.
Man,
people,
they can buy an ape. We've seen that. They can buy an ape or a punk. You know, if they're very capable people, you know, spend $100,000 to make $1 million or $2 million.
It's also,
and they can verify their NFT when you know we saw that a lot. Like at some point, you know. It always just, I don't know, it just doesn't sit well with me. And I guess secretly at the same time, like I never wanted to verify my bird because I secretly maybe want somebody to try to like pass as me so I can publicly big slap the shit out of them, you know? Like I feel like that could be
kind
fun.
of weird thought. Can't wait.
I don't know.
I did have there's a lot of housekeeping to get to. I definitely I like this combo. I think people are also talking. NFT Cutie's bringing up a good point. ChatGPT we've been talking about for a while as well as like I guess just I don't want to call them analog, but like a traditional kind of Web 2-ish, not related to Web 3 company that is trying to figure out monetization. They're already charging $20 for a premium service. Like we just covered them. We were like, oh yeah, eventually they'll get to this premium model
they
where
have
they can
to
monetize, and they already just did it.
They have to. They're spending so much money every single day just to run those servers, and now they have they've got the resources backing them through Microsoft to scale and not worry about that. But they have to get to monetization quickly, right? So yeah, that's an amazing point. But shout out Mike,
and that's definitely worth it. You definitely get value back for that versus little blue check.
This is a whole rabbit hole. We need to do more AI spaces because like I don't want to go down the ChatGPT thing because there's a lot to say there.
Before the checks, let's not go to checks yet. Let's go to that in bag check. I do have some housekeeping things that I want to get to here as well. We had a breaking piece of news happen on the GM Web3 morning show, the Twitter Spaces Gift Ed hosts every morning, which was that Jessica Yatrovsky came out and basically put out an announcement because she was almost forced to, right? Like she almost like had to put this out because basically what was happening was Coinbase NFT was like lacking in communication. This is their launch pad, right? Like their artist, what
partners,
are they
artist launch partners. These are their partners.
Yeah.
They're artist partners.
And they weren't talking to their partners. Like even Mumbot, when Jessica Yatrovsky talked about this, Mumbot was like, "Shit, I've got a drop coming up in a month. I didn't know about this." And so basically, she put out this announcement yesterday that Coinbase NFT marketplace is potentially like on rocky ground, maybe pausing. This forced Coinbase NFT into making their own announcement.
Literally.
So let me see if I can get to it. I thought I had it.
It's I think they had it pinned on the Coinbase NFT. So it's Coinbase _NFT.
No, I had it
so
up.
This is amazing work. And this again is what is so powerful about having a legit community of artists, creators who care about the space, who are deep in the trenches, is that we are holding platforms to task. Like we have power as this group because Jess was able to come in, share this experience, break this news in our room. We just put a little gas into it. She played her cards well, but she's one of our, y'all know Jay Yacht, Thirst Trap and Queen of the Kingdom, one of our favorite hosts and contributors, amazing artist. She comes on and she's just like, look, I'm sick and tired of being jerked around. I'm sharing this here. We put a little bit of gas in the tank, just said, hey, y'all tweet at Coinbase, share it out. This shit went fucking viral. And within like an hour or two, Coinbase literally had to make their first public announcement. Because here's again, just to contextualize it, we want Coinbase NFT to succeed. We're not happy or dancing on anybody's graves if they're not doing well. But the issue is, one of the ethoses in this space is transparency, especially the way that you're doing business and handling partnerships. And they have been continuing to string along a bunch of artists and their collectors and buyers in the space. They're even continuing to launch collections into this bear market without telling people what they know internally, and that's that they're stopping support for Coinbase NFT and their artist platform. So they've been doing these half-ass launches, trying to get more money out of people. And it's not good business. It's really not transparent, but especially for the artists, people like Jessica, who you can tell reading that, have had enough. They're like, fuck this. You've strung me along for over a year and you're not being transparent. Like, she had to dig for weeks and Nancy drew her way to get any sort of answer out of them. So you know what? Look at that. We got a fucking response out of Coinbase NFT and we've got the truth out there now. So
yeah, the other part of that announcement, right, is that Coinbase NFT, which we were speculating, we were like, holy shit, does that mean the whole platform is shutting down? And what does that mean for that marketplace? I mean, that was going to be a big arm of their company, or at least down the road. So they obviously confirmed that they're not shutting that part of the business down, which is good. The other thing is this severely limits the ability for Jess and Gifted to launch their kind of co-project of nude pics and gamifying that. So I don't know what happens to that project. Like, what happens to your nude project that you're doing?
We're gonna have to, we're gonna have to go with.
Biggie doesn't know if we're being serious or not. He thinks we're.
We're gonna have to go with Manifold now because Coinbase really screwed us on our open edition nudes. So no, look, I'm glad you brought it up, Q, because it's really cool. That we're getting to a point where we really, like, as a community, have some leverage and some power, and it's really fucking cool to be using it, I think, for the artists to get some kind of honesty or truth or better communication out of these platforms. I think that's a good use case for what we're doing.
Did you have something on the nude pics, Biggie? Or anything else?
No, like I do not want to share what went through my mind. Like, let's just not NFA, people. NFA. Let's see what happens. I trust Jess. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I know she also said she's gonna move that drop to Nifty Kit. So definitely want to be able to shout that.
Yeah, we should run a contest though. Does Gif have a Gary Vee tattoo or not? That's what I want to know.
You're gonna have to wait for those nudes, Biggie.
The reveal, and you probably have to pay enough. You have to have bought enough to burn, right? For the reveal.
I may or may not be getting my boisterous beaver tatted.
Speaking of nudes, did you guys see Beeple's latest release? Love to see it. I'm putting that up for 0.5 seconds because I don't want to be banned. I don't get why that's like Beeple's calling card now. It should just be like extremely erotic. When it comes to
shock value.
That shock value. Okay, we have to get to some quick news here, and then our main topics for today are our continued coverage on the Bitcoin NFTs, the ordinal drop that is happening, or mint that is continuously happening. But we do have some big news as it's related to farther coverage of this Bitcoin NFT stuff. We've got who on the network next week. We're trying to lock this in. This isn't fully confirmed yet, but Biggie, give us a little bit of taste on who we might have next week to kind of dive deep, because that's what we want to do, right? We want to cover the fact that Bitcoin NFT launches have been happening for a while. We just haven't been seeing it.
It's no secret. It's something that I do think a lot of people have been sleeping on, and Mark's been very gracious. I think it's going to happen. So far, I think for next week, Tuesday, I believe. And Mark's just like one of those big brain super devs, like, that can do a whole bunch of stuff. And so he founded two projects that, full disclosure, I'm involved in from the start. One of them is called Apes Together, that I think was rebranded, named Apollo, which is a software to launch your own projects, similar to, like, along the lines of Bueno and Manifold and stuff like that, but really, really cool functionality. And then Megapont Apes, which is his NFT project, which is just, I think, ahead of its time and really, really cool. And I don't want to get too into it because, I'm sure he's going to bring in some real fire takes on that. But like I've said with our audience, I think the Stacks ecosystem is underrated, and I know right now it's this other protocol that's making waves, which I'm all for, because it just makes sense, people. And like we mentioned yesterday, NFTs on Bitcoin was something that Hal Finney had envisioned way before it pissed off all the fucking crazy degens in crypto Twitter. So sorry, but they're fucking cool. There's a community, and you ain't gonna kill it.
Zoo NFT is saying it is pretty spooky stuff when Coinbase, with everything they had going on for them, couldn't make it. Mike Erlinson coming through with some financial alpha here on multiple fronts, the NFT front, but also he just said 24K on BTC busted and 1.7K LOL on ETH. This chart looks dope. This is the daily on Bitcoin. Don't get me wrong. Like from January 5th on, we are on a hell of a run here. The floor there at the time was 6. I said floor. The kind of support level there for Bitcoin was like 16.5 at the time, sitting at 24. Like that's a really good looking chart. Makes me wary that we're in kind of a fake out stage in the midst of a bear market here. But
cat bounce.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn, Bitcoin's doing well. I'm good, and that's obviously bringing the rest of the market with it. We'll get to the NFTGO bag check. I definitely want to get to the checks collection as well. Last shout outs to the chat.
Well,
here.
we should also, yeah, okay. We'll talk about all the calls that I've been making lately in the bag checks, maybe. But I also just briefly, as a last note on the Coinbase thing, because we need to be fair to them. They aren't closing Coinbase NFT, but they're stopping some of the support, and specifically around their artist partners program, which they had not been communicating to any of their partners, and they're continuing to launch these projects without the full support. So that's the situation. So to Zoo NFT, like, yeah, I agree. It's not great that they're not doing well. I don't think we can say that, we're not putting nails in their coffin yet. Coinbase NFT will be here, and I think they've built a lot of infrastructure, and hopefully they'll revamp their strategy. And when a bull market comes back, they'll be able to do some new things and maybe do some more innovative things like Blur's done. Again, I think Blur gives them a case study to look at for how to successfully launch a marketplace, and that they didn't have that when they launched into the bear. So I just wanted to mention that. Let's be fair to Coinbase. We still want them to succeed. It's just important that they actually, if they're going to be a Web3 company, stop doing this bullshit, like opaque, handling business like a Web2 company where you don't have to treat your partners and your customers with any respect. Like, you got to be upfront. You got to communicate what's actually going on.
How about just innovate, right? Like I saw a tweet over the night that was just like,
stop trying to be OpenSea.
Yeah, like what happened to the space that was just like getting after it on the innovation front? And there's still a lot of people doing that. We've touched on, varying degrees of like customized NFTs with these open editions and things like that. Keep doing that. Keep doing that. And we sit up here and it's a daily show, so we have to critique and say, whether we like it or not and things like that. But people in this space shouldn't be so critical when people are trying to do new things and maybe fail at it. That's just it was just a half-hearted attempt. I feel like we sat up here and we're like, even when they were launching, it was like, like this isn't gonna do well, and it proved true. But Biggie, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say what you guys. I mean, to their credit, I know it took some social media crowbar leverage. Thanks, Jessica there. But they listened. They responded. They assuaged all these rumors of them, just closing it down. And so I think it's important for them to now like sit down, regroup, and maybe do some community reach out and see what people are looking for, so that it can really come back and with something novel, unique, a new angle. And like, our Web3 consulting services are open, Coinbase. If you'd like to reach out, we'd be happy to talk to you. I got some ideas for stuff you could do.
How about Alpha?
But I'm not going to just share them for free. No free alpha from me. You got to reach out to us.
Alfalfa Consulting LLC. Yeah, we're going to start that one. It's going to be a Wyoming LLC.
Web3 Alfalfa Consulting.
Yeah.
Gifted releasing Top Knot NFTs with unique bauble colors. Gif also talking about man bun collections in Carter. It looks like this is as popular as Alfalfa here, so you got to key in on these things when they're talked about a bunch.
You got to give them take off the hat, Gif.
Take it off, Gif. Is it under there?
Is it on?
No,
not bunned up today, but no buns today. Sorry, fam. But when you're hitting as many solid, doubles, triples, and homers as I've been hitting lately, people like anything you do, I guess.
My man thinks he's batting 1,000 over here. Hey, dude, we love it when you win. Okay, we love it when you win, guys. We love you guys tuning in as well. I want to give a quick shout out to Saigo. He's saying, "Yo, good day for a good day." Absolutely true, my brother. We definitely have to connect. I know we're talking through DM, so let's definitely connect. Would also love for you, if you have a video, a mic, to come on the show. I really love your thoughts on the space. Big shout out. I just got a like as well. I know we're like keeping the housekeeping pretty long today, but it is a Thursday. It's a relaxed episode.
Yeah.
I just got a notification from one of my college roommates. So Brian, if you are watching, War Eagle, my brother, I appreciate you tuning in, man. It's good to see your name there, and hopefully you're listening, and definitely I hope you're having a good day. Prodigy is saying this is where we are at now, alfalfa and man buns.
I want to know if, since we're on the topic of our amazing hairstyles, I want to know if Nifty Q had the mullet in college.
No.
Is it high school or college?
Dude,
did he have a mullet all the way back then?
I was not cultured when I was younger. I went all the way around. I did like the Mexicano special all the way around, dude.
He had to work to get this mullet that he's got today. All right, you got to earn.
What I do notice is, like, are you going hunting again?
These just got delivered, man.
Dude,
turkey season, baby.
I thought they were suspended.
I see. Nice. He's prepared.
That's the alpha. That's the alpha we wanted today.
With the MAYC, dude, these feel like have you ever tried on yoga pants? Like, dude, the shit that girls wear? The yoga pants? You ever tried those on?
No.
No? Well, my girlfriend has yoga pants. I tried them on one time just to see what the fuzz is all about. They're like you're wearing a cloud. And these are kind of like yoga pants for rednecks. It's like I'm not wearing anything.
I see that. You know what? I bet Q actually, if you did
chicks in the chat.
If you did a legit photo shoot in that outfit showing off the like ape with your fucking hunting shit, and if you had like a fucking gun, you'd probably go viral. You'd probably have a bunch of crazy motherfuckers liking that shit on Twitter and sharing it. So I'm just saying, you might be onto something here.
I love it. Guys, you're absolutely killing it today up here as well. As the community members, we see you guys. We're off and running. We're going to start with the NFT bag check, the Web3 bag check, okay?
NFTGO. It's NFTGO bag check.
NFTGO bag check. Okay,
they're not officially sponsoring us yet, but I actually just talked to Jared last night. We'll see. We'll see what we can do. No promises, but NFTGO, we're talking to you. And we love you.
Prodigy saying you're the most wannabe redneck. I hate you. See, I couldn't keep that up. That's the problem. You know what I mean? That's the issue. Half of my family, I'm not going to get into my side of the family, but I do have rednecks in my family. Just keep that out there. Market overview. NFTGO bag checking the weirdest segue since DJ Savage was on the show. Barometer is 32 right now. So a little bit hot on the barometer as it's relative to like, as we've covered it this week. I think we started at like 23, 24, and this thermometer, if you will, has gone up. 30-day profits and loss. People are still in losses. Blue chip index not competing that well in the last 7 days over ETH, but doing pretty well in USD. So we've been holding pretty strong, but against ETH, that is one thing that we don't really talk about here on the show. Whenever you're trading long-term, you got to think about, if you're paying an ETH, you got to think about how it's going to perform in ETH. I feel like we don't bring that up enough on this show, but it is important. If you do a 4x, but ETH goes to 6K over a year,
drops 10x,
yeah.
Or that. Well, I do. It's always shocking to me to see how many people are paper handing and taking L's like it's their job. It's like
yeah.
No, it's like all you have to do is just keep holding a little bit longer on a lot of these things, and like on these big collections that actually have volume. A lot of people just start fucking dumping because they're so scared that they're gonna like lose it all. And it's like, dude, if you literally just held and got some of that supply out of the market, then it slowly goes up. And yet you see, like every time we come to this page, it's like 75 to 80% people just dumping shit, taking L's. Like they don't care about what they're doing at all. They're just like, oh shit, I got it. It didn't go fucking 10x overnight. I better sell, get 30% out of my investment that I made yesterday. I don't understand how so many people...
Short-term flips?
Yeah, it's nonsense.
Sucks.
Yeah, definitely have a reason. Like, I always like to think that way. Like, why are you buying into this project? Whether it's a flip or not, and if it is a flip, like, how much time are you going to let that breathe? What would be your exit point, both, if it goes down or if it goes up? But I think, like, in this climate, and especially in crypto, like, you really should be thinking at least, 3 months, at least give, these, and I mean, it's absurd to say 3 months
swing
in my
trade.
opinion, right? Like
swing trade.
But at least 3 months, like you said, like these people that like the minute they read a bad tweet or, keep looking at the charts and they see a downtick and they sell, it's like, what are you doing to yourself? It's death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah, they see one random troll say some dumb shit on Twitter that has no idea what they're talking about. And they're like, sell, sell, sell. Fucking Jim Cramer said some shit. Like,
I would copy trade. I would inverse trade Jim Cramer though. That sometimes works. Real quick, back to back check so we can make it our way to checks. That's a big story. I feel like market cap and volume falling again versus ETH in this time. Let's see where it is on the US. Ooh, that looks nice. Over the last couple days, but we're pretty much we're rolling here to start the year. So really good to see that market cap increase in that time. Holders and traders over 7 days here. These categories will likely stay the same over time. I got a quick question for you. Which one's going to be the top performer here, fellas? If you had to bet it all on black on one here, what is the top
for
performer
the year
over the next year here? Look at market cap. Obviously, PFPs taking up the biggest chunk. This is top performer. Okay, so I'm talking about 2x, 3x, 4x, not still going to be at the top.
Yeah.
So I open that up to chat too.
I'm gonna go ahead because I want it. I want to see it. Music, please be music. Please be music. It's like it's such a sea of talented individuals that are embracing this space, and it's just a matter of time. And I want to see it, man. I want to see more music in the IRL events. In the social channels, like people sharing it the way they do with PFPs and art. Don't get me wrong, I don't want that to go away, but I mean, you want to talk about onboarding music, man. Music, like what the fuck? Like what's taking so fucking long?
Well, okay, first of all, education,
the tools suck.
Onboarding, the right tools and the right experience. Like there's a lot of things standing in the way. And also keep in mind, there's an entrenched existing industry that wants to control everything and doesn't want to be putting artists and energy into this new thing until they can own it, right? It's like, think about what's been happening with the oil industry and electronic vehicles over the last fucking 50 years. They've slow played all of the new technology to help us get onto better they because they're making hand over fist from the fucking oil industry and all the money that they've invested. I think it's the same thing with all of these industries. They don't want to be disrupted, right? So just understand that there's also there's energy against the proliferation of music NFTs right now as well, coming from the existing industry, as much as many of them may be trying to get into it. So anyway, what's the point? The point is,
give me an answer.
I agree with Biggie. I think so. There's three that stand out to me as interesting. Music is one, because I think all you need is like one or two really, really big musicians to come in and do something next level to fucking 10x where it's already at. So I think music is absolutely one that can outperform. I think land can absolutely come back from where it is right now. We've seen what land speculation can do in this space, and we're at like a massive lull right now. So I think land is also one to be watching. And then I think photography, especially because of Instagram coming online and people, a bunch of people coming in through that, and all these awesome photographers and even just the everyday Joe experimenting with creating their first digital collectibles on Instagram by fucking minting a photo. I think photography is the other one. So those are the three that I think have tremendous performance potential.
Okay, I'm not gonna cheat the competition here and pick three. Okay, I'm gonna pick one that doesn't look like it has much or market cap, I guess, meaning that it's like taking the category in general. One that's very, very low on this list that has already had a run before and has a lot of use cases. DeFi, maybe as it's related to DAOs, as the tooling gets better, as we see, more. It's tough for me, like better UX UI. I think that's what DeFi needs. More projects that aren't just mercenary, hey, come for this farm. Some, things that have borrow and lending that are just 4-6%. I know that doesn't sound sexy, but these are things that could actually help society, allowing people to borrow and sell without the need to have a FTX in the middle, a BlockFi in the middle. you know? So go ahead.
I think we have to be clear though on this, because what we're looking at here is Ethereum only data. This is not cross-chain. I think if we looked at cross-chain data, DeFi is probably a much higher percentage, because I don't think anybody deploys DeFi on Ethereum. Maybe on Polygon, maybe on a side chain. But I think that's one of the issues of why it's so low here.
Yeah, Aave, one of the largest DeFi platforms in the space, is on Polygon. So you're probably right about that. So I'm going to stick with my answer just because I think, again, DeFi is going to just be a sector that's going to massively increase over time. But I appreciate those answers. Real quick, volume over the 7 days. We've been covering it. Doodles taking a little bit of a run here over the duplicators and Doodles too, which Gif, I think you've got some personal experience I'd love to touch on here.
Oh yeah.
A kid called Beast we haven't touched on at all really. We've even had some requests to do so. But Checks is one that we're going to hit it on relatively quickly here as we make our way into kind of the collections. Volume over 7 days as well. These are kind of the same charts. So let me maybe go out. What the fluff? We had a question in chat about what the fluff. I don't know if you guys have any takes on that. Pudgies are in the top 10 as well. So cool to see. And then lastly, we're going to hit the marketplaces. Just marketplace over the last 7 days. Don't pay attention really to X2, Y2. We've covered it on our channel. I don't think NFTGO takes out wash trading activity yet. We'd love to see that feature though. Here. Yeah. Let's see if they do.
They have a filter.
Yep, they have the
filter. They have a filter.
Oh,
Sometimes it works. Oh, wow.
Bada boom.
Wow.
Yeah. Look at that, huh?
Yo. See, okay, here's real quick point on this.
Love it.
I've been thinking more about this. Any legitimate NFT platform, analytics platform, in my opinion, moving forward, now that these tools are available and you can filter, your default view, it shouldn't be a filter that you have to go find and like switch on. The default view, in my opinion, for any legitimate platform should be filtering out wash trading. If you're trying to communicate real value, like what's a real collection, why do collectors care? If you're trying to actually accurately portray what's happening with a collection, you shouldn't have to go search and find and then trigger on a bunch of stuff to get the real view. So I want to know what OpenSea is doing about this. I want to know what Blur, I want to know what all of these marketplaces are doing, because to me, this should be the table stakes. As a marketplace trying to purport yourself as not, like sharing the real information of what's going on. It's when you go there, it should already be factoring this in somehow or filtering out all of the bullshit. That's my opinion.
All right, last stop on the NFT bag check here is going to be the blockchains here on the side. I really like Crypto Slam and what they do for the ability to see the volume on the blockchains. I don't think we have another platform that we look to that covers all this data. So as you can see, Ethereum and Solana taking up a majority of that volume. Immutable X, I definitely want to get a deep dive into here and have someone in the Immutable X. I feel like we're saying that a bunch this week. Like we're getting into the weeds on a lot of things maybe that we don't have as much experience in, that we need a expert to come in. But Immutable X is definitely one with the Passport release. Polygon and Flow, and then I don't really understand what's going on at Cardano. I don't want to FUD the living shit out of that protocol. I have a long-standing hate for that project, but maybe they do have some activity happening there related to NFTs. I've had a couple on the channel where projects have come in and talked about their PFPs. I just don't know in totality what they've got. So
I haven't heard you say the word hate very often, so that's intense.
They were like a top 5 blockchain project related to market cap, and like literally had nothing. It was a very interesting. I still sometimes
wash
like,
trades.
I wonder.
It's all about wash trading, bro. All wash trading. I'm telling you.
Okay, this is all-time timer on here that we haven't even made it to quick news, and we're at 53
Jacob's
minutes.
watching.
Jacob is watching. We will try to get
Jacob.
to this. Guys, we have a community topic segment that I do want to touch on because Don R has gotten into some good topics here that I want to get your take on.
Don R.
Let me make sure. Don R. Let me see. Shit, one more. Let's see. Okay. So usually we do the community segments at the end. I want to highlight them relatively early in the show, 54 minutes, relatively early for us in the show, because I'd love to get more people doing this on the network, right? Being able to talk about this. And I think this is a great question. We all estimated a long delay before the return to good times. Any change in your estimate for how long it will take after such a positive January? We've already shown the charts. It was a very positive January. Are we entering a bull market already, fellas?
No.
I can't really tell you a straight answer, Don, because I'm not a financial expert. I do follow a lot of financial experts and try to learn all the time. I definitely subscribe to the idea that we're beholden to the macro, as I've said a lot of times here, and I just think there's a lot of unknowns that can come and cause a capitulation or spread like a virus and everywhere else, right? Having said that, I find myself in a bit of a conundrum right now because one of the people that I really love to listen to is Raoul Pal. And he's very, I don't want to say bullish, but he's feeling good about this, right? Like he's talking about how, we've seen the floor, right? Like we've reached the bottom and we're probably not going to see it again, which is sad for me because I want eventually to, wanted to dip again. So as usual, right? Like every degen, there's stuff that I still need to pick up, right? Having said that, though, I don't know. I've been in the space enough to not fall for the euphoria, and I just feel that things right now are a bit too euphoric. Coming on the tail end of like what was a catastrophe last year. I mean, with the hits we took last year, to think that all of that has been expunged, like that all these hedge funds and investors, exactly, have like just wiped the table clean. I can't help but think that that's not the case. I don't like to fall for conspiracy theories either and think that this is market manipulation, and which I have heard of people looking to catch out from these effects. But yes, it just feels very euphoric right now, and when I see that in the space, I tread carefully, my friend. That's all. That's my 2 cents.
Mike's getting after it here in chat, saying S&P 500 just broke its 1-year downtrend. I just want to pull up the Bitcoin chart because it's a relatively good indicator of just health of the industry, right? So this was November 6th. November 9th, we saw $69,000 Bitcoin. And from that point on, we were on a slow decline down to, I think it was literally, again, a calendar year, November 8th. We saw a $14,000 Bitcoin. I think it wicked down a little bit, but like 14.5, I think might have been the support level there, or just where it touched. So that's, we're seeing that uptick. And that's the question.
I think look, there's one thing that I can say with relative certainty. Anybody that was buying Bitcoin at 14,000, that's going to age very, very well. I know that, right? If you got into Bitcoin at 14,000, I feel confident that you did well for yourself long term. I agree full-heartedly with everything that Biggie just said. You got to temper your expectations around situations like this. When you look at the macro, like what's happening with the war in Ukraine, it's not necessarily better, is it? We don't know what's happening with Genesis or any of that contagion that's still ongoing with FTX's fallout. Fed is still hiking rates. Like, yeah, maybe it's slowing a little bit, but like it's not stopped yet. The macroeconomics at a global scale, there's so many things that are slowing down or not doing well. China's economy, like there's so many things at the macro level that does impact us that like if you're just looking at how NFTs and crypto are doing, you're not seeing. And so I agree with Biggie. I don't think we can just like, turn our hats around and be like, yay, we're in a fucking bull market now. We have to be very careful. But the one thing that I will say is that I do agree on this sort of Raoul Pal theory, or this theory that maybe the bottom is in. We've been feeling for like the last couple months, like we've got to be close. We've got to be getting close, right? Or maybe there's another notch down from here, but it can't go any fucking lower. So I think that there may be some truth to the fact that like we're kind of at the bottom, or we may have seen the worst. I could be wrong on this. There could still be a leg down from here, which is why I'm still playing very carefully. But I have been hunting around and picking up pieces from like blue chips that are undervalued and shit right now, because I think we've got to be close to the bottom at least. And I'm setting up these plays for when things turn around now. So if you're not dollar cost averaging, if you're not hunting for undervalued projects that you think are going to run in a bull, this is the time. And so actually on that front, you know, I'm kind of bridging these topics. Yeah. I bought a doodle last night, and I think I may have made a good call.
Shit.
I got a floor doodle. I managed to get a WETH offer at 5.6 ETH, and the floor is already up over 6 ETH again. So somehow somebody paper handed, and it's because of this duplicator shit, which honestly, we can get more into that later. It's nonsense. I have not had a good example, a good experience with the whole duplicator shit as somebody trying to get into the project. But somebody did paper hand at 5.6 ETH, and I got a floor doodle, and I can show it if you want to see it.
Yeah.
But
so part of this too, Gif, I do want to get your takes on checks, right? Because checks have been running, and I want to pull up this tweet from, and I want to make sure I have it, NFT statistics here. My goodness, VV checks hitting 1 ETH floor from $8 to 16 or almost $1,700 in 25 days. So let's see both. Let's see the doodles, but let's get into checks for sure.
Yeah, I definitely want to talk about checks. All right. So this is what I picked up. It's, you know what? It's not like it wouldn't be my first choice. I'm not like, oh my God, it's the dopest doodle, but it's clean. It's cool. And it's a good looking floor doodle that's part of a quote unquote blue check project that is continuing to build out and grow. That this to me is the type of project that they've been sitting at like a 7, 8, 9 ETH floor through most of the bear market. Yeah. I was trying to buy in around 7 or 8 ETH, and I got one at 5.6. I feel like that's a good entry for doodles right now, because in a bull market, this is the type of project that I think can outperform a lot of others. So I just got this last night. Hopefully it does well. But yeah, 5.6 for this. And then, yeah, I'm going to go pull up the checks real quick.
I like that he looks like a scientist. Have you named him? Have you named him, Gif?
I have not named him yet, but I will. And if let us know in the chat, what should I name my scientist
Let's
doodle?
see him one more time. Can you bring him up, or do you have it on another tab? Or
I got it.
Alfalfa. Name him Alfalfa,
oh my God.
Please.
Oh
What was Alfalfa's friend's name? What was his What was his
no
favorite?
Idea.
What? The spunky kid, the shorter spunky guy.
No
What was
idea.
Alfalfa's girlfriend's name? I'm deep down a rabbit hole that I want to go down here. I'm looking this up. Little rascal.
It's not going away.
All right, but check this out. 7-day chart on the checks. Or wait, let's go.
Dude,
like
Gif.
Yeah, 7-day.
Gif, real quick. Alfalfa's name, or Alfalfa's friend's name from the Little Rascals. Are you ready for this? Spanky.
Spank.
Oh,
yo, that's the name.
Spanky.
I think maybe
Spanky
I named
and
my
Alfalfa.
So, okay, here's the checks, and we called this one. I called it. I got in it at half an ETH. So 7 days ago, this was sitting around 0.45, half an ETH, and I bought in, and I basically told everyone here what I was doing, and I said, look, it's pretty expensive. It's kind of high. It's got a 16,000 supply, but the sentiment is strong. It's a momentum play, and this was at the sort of the start of this new meta, this open edition meta, and so many other projects have created derivatives of it. And I think that because it's, you know, the sort of start of a new meta, a lot of people are saying, you know, you go down in history for that. So I bet on it. I said, you know what, half an ETH is expensive for a 16,000 supply. It's not even like a unique, like a lot of them look the same. But I just had a feeling, and 5 days after I pulled the trigger, half an ETH was double.
And Gif, I don't know if you knew this, but did you hear that they're going fully on chain?
No, maybe that's part of what's driving it.
So yeah, 100%. Jack Butcher announced on his Twitter that these things are going to be able to be exchanged. I don't know if exchanged or you're just going to be able to like put them on chain with it, and they have a very different look to them as well. I definitely think that these, I mean, just the premium that some art catches for being on chain cannot be denied, right? And Jack Butcher is somebody that's been, learning in this space. Like I think he came in relatively late, but like he's really caught up. And not only that, he's very much in tune and in touch with social media and iconography. He's been a designer for a very long time. I think what he's doing is really interesting, and the community is definitely rallying behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, so, I want to put out one thing. This is the Checks website, right? When we had obviously the guys from Collector's Corner here talking about generative art, talking about different traits across these things. What did they say about one of the traits? It's black and white, right? Like this is the most rare trait, and it's made that way. But
well, and then all his designs, IRL or whatever, before his venture into Web3 were all black and white. So makes sense. I'm happy for him. I completely slept on, and faded it like a dumbass. And I will say this: that's part of it. That's part of it. I'm here with Gif and everything. And now, what's the rule? It's like you don't chase after these things, right? But then you're happy when your friends do well, and when people you admire are doing really cool shit. And you know, I don't know what to say except you know, maybe I'll jump in if we ever get that dip, and if not, so be it. This is part of it. Like I like sharing this.
I'm dumb.
look, okay. Hey. So real quick, Biggie's right, and I want to also say, look, I make a ton of dumb moves, and I do like the duplicators. I bought in at the top of that, and I'm in on 2 dupes that are like duplicators that are like way down. So I make a bunch of dumb moves too. But it's cool. But I don't talk about all of my moves, right? It's the higher conviction ones that I think are like, this is really interesting to play. And those are the ones that we talk about more. So it's really cool when those higher conviction plays do actually, you know, fruit, right? So that's why we're talking about these, because these are the ones that we've been sharing, talking a lot about, and that one's doing well.
Dude, I think I've been giving you guys flowers for, I feel like the last month of getting in a lot of these calls. I didn't hop into Lucrece. I didn't hop into Checks. You guys got to listen to these guys. They're giving you some alfalfa. But is there a game mechanic behind this black check? Like quarter?
Yeah, I think I forgot. Like obviously, since I didn't partake, I'm not so informed. Crazy dude. Like I follow Jack Butcher way before. Like, you know, I've bought a bunch of his other IRL stuff and everything. But for some reason, even when they came out, I was like, oh, he came up with an open edition. I think they were already at like 0.15. And I was like, they'll come down and I'll get into them then. And of course, they never did. And I'm happy for him, dude. I did read like from his updates that like from what I understand, there's different amounts that you have to burn for different styles or designs or rarities, right? But he's doing some interesting stuff, and he's definitely to be credited for it. You know, like he's been very thoughtful about it, and I think please like just highlight the fees, because I think this is something that people don't talk about enough. Yeah, like the royalty fees that he charges, like honestly, like compare that to that's something that I've really started to like hone in on, especially with these open editions that, you know, a lot of people like to highlight about being accessible, right? Like entry points for people that might have not been able to partake in other, you know, ecosystems, other artists and ecosystems. But then you look at the royalties and you see like some gargantuan, like ridiculous amount.
2.5. He's talking about he's only 2.5% is what he's got.
That to me tells you a lot about the person, how thoughtful they are, what their aims are, because they really he really wanted to get this into the hands of as many people as possible. He's not being greedy about it. And when you're looking at some of these open edition launches down the line, make sure to check out the royalties, because you'll see, you'll get a really good sense of what that person's intention really is by launching their open edition. And so I think that's something that he needs to be applauded for.
And it worked for him, right? And I think, you know, just to wrap up the checks part, and then I want to talk about one other quick call. From now, like since it's already 2x in 5 days, like there's I could either keep holding thinking that this is really going to be a mass part of history and see where it goes, or I can try and, you know, actually get some more liquidity. Maybe it'll dip again. I could buy back in, or just take the dub on this call. So I'm going to list it higher than floor right now. Maybe try and get it around like 1.5 ETH. See if it keeps pumping, and maybe I can get a flip within a week or two and make 2 or 3x my return. Because honestly, like I wasn't expecting it to move this quickly in the first place, and I could use the dub. So that's how I'm playing it right now. So the other one I'm sharing my screen, the Polygon chart, because I have to call this. This is the 30-day, no, well, yeah, 1 month, 30-day chart. So I've been saying, and I was like joking around on Twitter, like, can somebody please pull the supercut of all the times that I've been saying Polygon under $1 was a steal? You know, who knows? Maybe it does end up going down from here, but it's looking pretty strong. It's up to like $1.25 now. So even if you got in around 80 cents, 85 cents, or under $1 when we were calling this, like, dude, you're doing fucking well. And I think to my theory and my thesis, it'll probably be a while before you see Polygon under $1 again. Could be wrong. Not financial advice. None of this is fucking financial advice. But I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good about all the times that I've said on camera, Polygon under $1 is a good price.
Yeah, we've been
it's
meaning
a solid
to talk,
bet.
Yeah, we've been meaning to talk about Polygon versus Flow versus Solana. And I think there's really a good argument to be made for all three. You know, Solana has a large market cap right now, as far as the like amount of volume that they do and what they have as far as collections is. Let me see if I can pull up this chart and where they sit from like an overall market cap. But really, I mean, Polygon, Solana, I would say like Flow is probably like 50th on this list. Let me see where Flow is.
Wow.
So really less of a risk or more of a risk reward there, right? From the ability to say, okay, you know, 5-6x gets you to where Polygon is even now. And maybe that's, yeah. So 11 billion circulating supply and Flow is at what? Did I miss him?
Jeez, well, they're at 45. Yeah.
So, yeah. That's a 10x. Yeah.
10x just to get to where Polygon is now as it's related to market cap. So obviously we're generalizing a bunch when looking at that, but it's a point to be made. There's a lot of room for growth. It's one of the reasons open editions do really well, because everybody, like, you're entering for $10. Like, that's not a hard thing to try to, you know, pump, you know.
And now the problem that comes with these things, right, is that there's always like these outliers, like checks, like Lucrece. People see that and they think that it could be replicated ad nauseum, and it's not the case. Both of these people, I guarantee you, well, one of them has just outright said it, but I bet you if you talk to Jack Butcher, it's not like the new year came along and said, oh, I'm just going to haphazardly launch an open edition and see what happens. They have been thinking about this and creating the whole experience for some time now. So when you see some other artists jumping in the train and charging 6 or 7% royalties, very different intention. So just be careful out there.
Yeah.
I'm all for it, by the way. I love the open edition saga that's launching, and I hope it doesn't end. But we're just getting started. And like I said, we're going to get to see very different facets and attempts at this. And just because you saw 2 or 3 that are really like going, like screaming right now, doesn't mean that all of them are going to perform that way.
Yeah. And to that point about being careful, just to remind everybody, right? Because it's fun for us to look around and, you know, pat ourselves on the back and feel like geniuses because we make some good calls. Look, I was also the dude that live on this show for shits and giggles minted or bought a cock punch at 1.6 ETH. And those are not doing well right now. Who knows where that's going to go? The point is I have just as many L's, but I tend to focus on certain things on these shows that I have higher conviction in. And so it's great to follow up with those. But, you know, we're talking back about like what's really happening with this pump. You know, people get carried away very easily, but you can look at things like new wallets and, you know, things that are happening in the space. We talked about how what's happening with this sort of short bull run or what we're experiencing being much more about positive sentiment within the hardcore users and less about actual new liquidity coming into the space because there's not a lot of new wallets. So a lot of what's going on right now is probably leverage. So the point is just to remind everybody of like, you know, we're seeing this pump, we're seeing more stuff happening right now, but we just got to be really careful and understand that just because there is some green candles or some good days or you're seeing some new metas take off, it does not mean that, hey, we're going to be at 60K Bitcoin next week. It doesn't mean that we're not out of the woods yet. So we all just got to be very wary of what's actually happening.
Yeah, I'd be interested to go through the rest of CoinGecko, because I do think, and we're not going to get to it on this show. We have a bunch of stuff to get to, and we're already pretty deep into the episode. But I think there is an argument to be made that we have like 6 months, 7, 8 months, that left of maybe just kind of crabbing out, maybe having these runs, but seeing it dip back down. But there's going to be another bull market. Like we've seen that throughout the cycle of crypto. And the difference between now and back then is now you have a bunch of established businesses, like really, really strong fundamental plays that you could say, I'm going to tie my bag to this project because of this, not because of some like, hey, they're going to get it done in 4 years, or hey, there's a lot of just like radical degens just trading this shit. It's like, no, Polygon has all this shit happening, so I could buy in and potentially do well. Alien River saying NFA after giving financial advice doesn't shield you from liability. So gifted.
Look, but we're not just saying it after we say stuff, and we're not giving any financial advice at all. So we're not saying financial advice and then saying NFA. We're saying things that we're watching and that we're passionate about and that maybe we're buying into. That is not financial advice to you to go do the same. I'm just sharing what I'm doing. And also we put not financial advice on the ticker, on everything we do. I'm sure, to his point though, there's probably more stuff we should be doing. We should probably have disclaimers at the front of the show in writing. We should do more of that.
But,
just to be super clear.
True. But at the same time, look, if there's one thing we know is that one of the most litigious societies on the planet is the United States, and if they want to fuck with you, if anybody wants to, they can sue you for anything. They even have an app to sue you with. I mean, definitely one of the reasons why we say it is because we don't want to get sued, Alien River. But more importantly, we say it because we care about our audience and because we don't want them to just get wrecked trying to like copy trade us or to take something and not do their own due diligence. We're trying to like educate here. And sometimes you do have to be careful because sometimes, you never know who's listening and they can just act on something. And that's not the type of audience we're trying to create. We want to create people that are capable of critical thinking and doing their own research. And I know they're not all like that, but it's just something to say, right? And again, also as a disclaimer to be able to say, hey, look, I've always said DYOR, NFA.
Yeah, do your own research.
You could have it.
Yeah, look, we're sharing our research and talking about things that we're passionate about and that we're doing. But this is also exactly why I'm sharing all my L's as well and talking about, look, I've lost so much money and screwed around on so many projects. I've got bags full of NFTs that aren't going to be worth shit. Don't follow me or do what I'm doing. We're just talking about shit that we're interested in. Hopefully, if it piques your interest, you go follow that rabbit hole, learn more about it, make your own decisions, because we are not responsible for anybody's bags here, and we are not financial advisors. So if that's not clear, thanks Alien River for pointing it out again. That we got to remind people.
Unfortunately, we have to operate in that environment, though, and I think to Biggie's point, the reason we do it is not to not get sued. It's to say, hey, don't get wrecked with us in some of these moves if you don't have the funds or you have it in another project and all this stuff. Like we don't want to see that happen. But we could probably do better, honestly, with that process.
And I think whenever we have an interest in something, we're very transparent about that too. We don't have we're not part of the Polygon team. We're not part of the NFTGO team. We don't have any corporate interests backing us up that we're being not transparent about you with while we're pumping certain bags. And when we're buying into something or we're talking about something, we're very transparent. Like I think Biggie even said earlier, so, for full transparency, I own this thing that I'm talking about. So I think that that's also really important is look, we are incredibly transparent about our interests in things. And if we're buying into something or not, we're not shielding any sort of interests from y'all up here and trying to purport to be something that we're not.
True.
So just to be clear, we're not pumping bags and telling you it's something else.
If it's not clear yet, this is not financial advice. Real quick before I get to this chart, I did want to say that. But one chart that looks really, really, really nice is Alluvium. Right, Alluvium we've been talking about on the channel for a minute. I think they're obviously in that pantheon, right? The top 3, 4, 5 of the Web3 gaming. If not, some people think going to be the biggest player in NFT gaming. If you look at this chart, obviously this chart looks a lot like the rest of the industry. If you zoom out to a year, you can see how nice that looks from potential value. right? And again, I'm not trying to get into TA and all that stuff, but you have an ability here, like Gifted is saying about Doodles, to find undervalued projects sitting here in February of 2023 and have them do extremely well. Alluvium potentially one of them. That's the last bull market here. That's at the end of the last bull market. Where could we see it go? And it's good to see them have success over the last 30 days. Although, again, a lot of this shit's just tied to ETH. ETH's up a good amount. You're going to see a lot of Ethereum projects and just, peripheral projects do well. So, okay, we haven't even got, this is going to be an interesting one. We're going to have to definitely leave this to under 2 hours, folks. I don't want to be holding these guys. These guys have lives to get to as well. But we haven't even wrapped up quick news yet because we're so interested in all of these different pieces. This was a negative and bearish piece of news for the social token space, right? And social tokens came up in the GM Web3 morning show. I think Black Dave was talking about it, as well as a couple others, and in that social tokens will be effective and a form of asset for music creators and for a lot of different creators, for gamers, for all these different things. But Rally was one of the largest social token platforms when the social token narrative took off, right? Roll is one of them. We used Roll to launch a token as well, but Rally was right there. And they came out yesterday and said that they're closing down.
Q, did you know I also had a social token with Roll?
No,
I just never. I literally got
Biggie.
I got approved, and like within a week, it's when they got hacked because of their password and everything. And I was like, well, that's fucking worthless now. Like, okay. It's like not like anybody took interest in that, but yeah, man, I'm bullish on social tokens. I was also a participant in Rally for a long time. I even farmed it and made some money with it. It's unfortunate, but I don't think it's a surprise to anybody that tracked it. I mean, I pulled out a long, like a year plus from it because it was very apparent that they were struggling. I definitely think for social tokens to work, you need to be on like a high TPS, low fee chain like Polygon, like Arbitrum or Optimism, and so it was very apparent. You just saw the use cases, and you were just like, "Are you kidding me? With these fees, it's just not going to work." Same with Roll.
Squashman saying, "Wow, Rally down crazy," and Don R saying, "Remember BitClout? Is that around anymore?" Which I don't believe it is. And Gifted, you brought up the morning
BitClout. Oh my lord!
Yeah. Well, it is really interesting because Rally was one of these early things. To Biggie's point, and Nifty Q, you're saying. Early on in Clubhouse, there were musicians, people like Bomani X, who's a dope musician, and experimenting, launching their own social tokens on Rally, which got me familiar. When I actually signed up for my Coinbase debit card, I selected Rally as the currency to be like spending with. So like this was backed up, and this was a real thing that a lot of people knew about at least, but clearly, it wasn't working. I do think it sucks, but also, again, we're going to see a lot more of this. There's too many chains out there that don't provide an actual solid use case or enough utility that probably shouldn't exist, that have inflated floors or a bunch of people in them. And I think, unfortunately, again, you're going to see a lot more of these types of scenarios with chains sunsetting, coming and going. This one did seem like it had more going for it than a lot, but I do want to get into the social token utility aspect of this, which is, I think Biggie, you made the interesting point about it being a social token needing to be on a very liquid chain or something like that, something you can transfer with low cost and efficiency. And I think that's a good point. But also, this to me shows even more, again, why Ethereum or Ethereum layer 2s, things that don't just disappear overnight, are still the best places to be investing and building your ecosystems. Because it sucks and it's shitty, not only for you, but your whole community, when you put time, effort, marketing, resources, but getting people to buy into something that can just disappear overnight. So the more decentralized you can be, always the better, especially as an artist or a small team. You can't be investing a bunch of time, energy, resources into things that can just rug and disappear on you. It's not a sustainable way to build your life. But this is what's really interesting about these open editions as social tokens. You now have Manifold and NiftyKit and these abilities to create open editions that in a lot of ways, NiftyQ, I think you were the first one that made the connection. They are kind of like social tokens that you fully control on Ethereum or a Polygon on one of these better chains. I think that this shows even more utility or use case for these open editions that people actually directly own, not having to go through these other platforms or closed systems or whatever.
To your point on that ownership part, Gif, as well, like this is literally saying in the announcement, we're announcing with regret that the Rally sidechain will begin to sunset after today. And then later on, it says, additionally, since NFTs on the Rally sidechain are not transferable to the mainnet, these will not be accessible once the site shuts down.
Goodbye. That sucks. Later, like it's fucking gone. This is why we talk about decentralization.
People have like a 24-hour period.
This is what I'm saying about the OpenSea Launchpad and all of these. Like I'm warning about the OpenSea Launchpad, and if you're buying into these, because I bet. And again, please, if somebody knows how the contract for the OpenSea Launchpad works, please come and talk to us and correct me. But I'm betting the reason why OpenSea is doing this is because they want to trap these projects, these communities, this liquidity onto their platform. And so all I'm saying is that whenever you're buying into these closed ecosystems or these specialized chains and platforms, you have to know what you're doing. Are you buying into a proprietary technology that only you can trade there? This is what I call my new term for this moving forward is going to be called being snow crashed. This is what happened with NatGeo with their fucking snow crash platform. This is what just happened with Rally. When you keep betting on all these platforms that sell you a bill of goods, then you find out after the fact that you basically just bought, you told your community to buy into something that doesn't have any interoperability. It doesn't have any decentralization. You don't actually own it. It's just like, this is the same thing as getting somebody to buy a skin in League of Legends. Sure, you might have utility in our little game, but you're not participating in the
worst.
In the whole,
these people are the worst because they sell themselves as Web3. League of Legends doesn't sell itself as Web3, saying you can own this stuff. They just say it. They like, we own all this shit, and you're buying it, whatever. These people like Rally are trying to say they're decentralized, they're part of Web3, and then when their sidechain shuts down, nobody can get it. Oh no, by the way, you have 24 hours or whatever the fuck they gave everybody to say, we're sunsetting after today, and oh, by the way, when that happens, your assets will not be transferable. It's like, holy shit. A lot of great comments coming through. Jax is saying Rally, just another centralized cautionary tale. The NFT is saying BitClout is doing well. So that was
I need to check on my Elon coin there.
From
what I recall, NFT Cutie, correct me if I'm wrong, and maybe they've changed it now. It's like you could deposit, but you could not withdraw. So it's one of those Hotel California things. Yeah.
Is Logan Paul promoting BitClout now? Is that what's happening?
I didn't buy no Logan Paul coin.
Like that would be a funny thing to dig more into. But I just want to say real quick, this is why we've partnered with NiftyKit. This is why we love Manifold. This is why we talk about these tools that actually empower artists to own their own contracts and decentralize, because then you are not beholden to these bullshit situations and these other platforms.
All right, I'm getting to the next story. One thing that you brought up there, Gif, we talk about this stuff every day. I like the practice of trying to actually work on, I think to Mo Runda's point, like the verbiage of how we talk about this stuff. We've been talking about that complexity piece, right? Where it's like if a project gets too complex, then it becomes almost too large of a barrier for new people to get in. I thought about this the other day. I like your snow crash comment on like getting snow crashed. And just to be clear, the verbiage there is you get snow crashed if you come into the space the wrong way. Is that kind of like, give me a definition
that could be a really broad sort of like rug. That's almost like just saying rug.
Well, give me
I think it's more specific to a platform or marketplace, a specific technology that has kind of sold you a bill of goods that then doesn't fucking work. Like the tech just fucking doesn't do what it says it was going to do. Like the specific thing with Snow Crash and NatGeo is the mint was broken, and then they found out after, like, their consumers, that they were trapped into a closed ecosystem. So it's more about being that closed ecosystem, bad tech, Web 2, purporting to be Web 3, as you said, situation.
Okay, so I want to pitch you guys on this guy. Again, I'm going to add Snow Crash to my bag here to pull
Don't
out
say
at
Porsche,
any
Q.
time.
Don't say Porsche.
I'm not saying Porsche. I'm saying this complexity piece where the project's getting too complicated. I was thinking about this term, and I want you guys to take. They're crossing the complexity chasm. Once you cross the complexity chasm, you get into that space where your project is too hard to understand for new people. And therefore, people start to look at your project and be like, I don't know about 10K TF because it's just too much. And so,
and then you've got to figure out how to retroactively build bridges to bring people over that chasm. So I really like this. Once you cross it, you're trying to get people to follow you there.
It's a new onboard experience.
A lot of people are not going to be able to cross that chasm. You've got to figure out now how to create those bridges. So I think complexity chasm works.
I think whenever you stumble upon people, projects, whatever, and you start getting the sense that it's too complex, you should listen to that and listen to your gut. People way smarter than us have been talking about this for a very long time. Richard Feynman comes to mind, famous physicist, professor at Berkeley or Stanford, was it? Like, I think he like participated in the Manhattan Project. He's the guy that like really brought forth this whole concept of Eli 5, explain it like I'm 5. And like the way he brought it was like, it's a great way to learn. If you can simplify something where you can teach it to a 5-year-old and it makes sense and it's simple, like it doesn't mean it doesn't have value. On the contrary, people that are great writers, it's the same thing Hemingway used to say about writing, right? Like writing that is easy to read is very hard to produce. It's not easy, and I think us as humans sometimes, whether it's for ego or to confuse people on purpose, we love to complicate things. We love to use big words that confuse people and that can obfuscate, right? But in reality, when you stumble upon a project that's simple, easy to understand, just know that sometimes that you should garner some appreciation because it's not easy to do. And at the same time, like, that's really what it should be. Like, if you do want to onboard people into Web3, it should be simple to understand. Make it simple first. So I am very weary whenever I'm reading, whether it's copy from whatever ads or whether I'm reading a white paper or a roadmap, or I'm hearing somebody speak and they're using very grandiose words where you have to take out a fucking dictionary. It's like, all right, is this person trying to compensate for something? Or is this person trying to obfuscate their lack of knowledge by making things sound more complicated than they are? It's very important.
That's why it's so weird. You're saying that like it's so weird that the Doodles is getting this wrong, that the Doodles is going that route, because the Dapper team, and maybe maybe those team members weren't that strong into the whatever CryptoKitties or whatever NBA Top Shot was doing to onboard, because they should be the #1 people at not confusing people. That's what they've always done.
Yeah.
Is explain things simply. But
and so
was saying I can't do this shit.
No, dude, my experience with this specifically, what's shown here, has been awful because I was not in Doodles and I decided to start investing and spending time getting into it. Bought into the duplicators thinking that they were something that turns out they weren't. Bought in at the top, they start dipping. Then I realized I can't even use them the way that I thought that I could. Bought a doodle off the floor. I didn't realize, actually you have to check on their website. There's like a small place buried at the bottom of their website that they don't show you in all of their marketing materials, that you have to go check if your doodle can still be duplicated, because it can only be duplicated once. So now I've got a doodle, I've got 2 duplicators, I can't even fucking use it. Like, it's honestly, I have to say, I'm still bullish. And despite all of this, because I think Doodles has a solid execution team, they can create great marketing, and I think that the brand and the art of the Doodles is so good. I'm actually still bullish despite the fact that I'm having a really bad experience coming in at this point in the journey. Because again, I still see this.
He wants his clone army, Q. God damn it, and he will get it.
Yeah, well, I still see this as a potential blue chip that in a bull market can fucking 5x or something like that. I still think that it has that potential, because I think it has the transcendent quality of a brand that can build out beyond Web3 and do all these things. I think I'm still bullish on it, but I have to say my experience again, once they've kind of already crossed a certain chasm of complexity, and I'm trying to catch up as somebody who hasn't been in and learn and find the ropes at an exciting time when they're launching all this stuff, it's been a really bad experience. And, you know, part of that is on me. You know, I should have maybe talked to more of the right people. You know, we haven't found a Doodles expert. I actually found one now.
You shouldn't need one. You shouldn't need
well, exactly,
one. That's the biggest point.
It's called Doodles. It's called Doodles. It's a cartoon.
The Daily Ralpha. There's a guy called Ralph something. The Daily Ralpha.
Shout out to Marty.
So he is a friend of a friend who I'm getting connected with. I'm going to try and get them on the show to be our Doodles expert and explain to us all this stuff. And, you know, I just should have waited until I got a much deeper expose from an expert. But to your point, you shouldn't need that. There should be easier bridges for people to know what's the best way to get in if you're new. So you don't do what I did and basically, you know, spend a whole ton of ETH thinking that you're getting into cool shit and then realize like, I don't really know what I've got. So fair. That's just honesty right there. Like, again, I'm telling y'all the L's with the W's. I bought duplicators at the top and I have a doodle and it's cool. I got a doodle now, but I'm still down. Like, I don't know what I'm doing with these duplicators right now.
We're moving into like multiple, whenever I bring up social tokens, it's fucking, my mind is just like, where do I even start? Now you're adding complexity to something that's already complex, right? Because you're talking about an NFT community. It's already hard as fuck to explain NFTs and all the utility pieces. Now you have what I call social tokens is money. Like, basically, social tokens can be money for an ecosystem, right? It allows fungibility and fungible assets to exist where the creator can capture that. But to the simplicity conversation we're having, that's why social tokens didn't do well, because they were too fucking complex, and it was way easier. And that's what happened with NFTs. Is NFTs co-opted the narrative. Everything that you can do with NFTs right now, other than like the aesthetic art of viewing it, you could do with the technology of ERC20s. You could.
Well, so Doodles, to that point, has too many different moving parts, in my opinion, without enough real simple clarity of like grabbing people in, come this way, don't go that way. If you're a newbie, don't fucking go this way, come this way. Like, you need to make it that black and white for new people that you want to have a good experience. You've got to really fucking lead them in a certain direction so they don't go down the super complicated. It's like a ski slope. You know, like, how are you grading the different tracks? Like, is this XX diamond that I'm diving into for my first fucking run? That's not going to go well. But so here's the thing. So Doodles now have the OG Doodles. They got the duplicators. They've got these generator boxes. Then they've got the clothing and the things. And they've got a secondary Doodle wearables marketplace that you can go trade rights for. And then they've got a bunch of messaging. It's like, it's a lot.
Yeah. You need to be able to aggregate all that data, because too many people in this space view just volume as the metric of health. So now you have what's probably in aggregate a lot of volume split into like 5 different collections. So you're getting a little bit of volume here, a little bit of volume here. But like somebody that's looking at it's like, see, look at Doodle's volume. It's 12th on this list. What do you mean? It's like, well, there's like 5 different collections. Like, it's tough. A great conversation. I did want to get into this Uniswap to Binance piece, but it's a more long-term thing. The one thing for an update, I will say on that, it was just kind of a temperature check. That was literally the title of the proposal. So this isn't Uniswap moving to Binance. It was to see what the community there who have Uniswap tokens thought about the move. So it was voted positively. 80% of the community or 80% of the token holders voted positively to move there. But that's not a full on move to Binance chain for Uniswap. But that would be huge.
So, but is this a proposal to move, or would they just like fork and create another version so they'd be on both, like Ethereum and Binance?
Let's dive in. I do want to get into more of the day. I'm already going to have to change the thumbnail. We're an hour and 40 in. We haven't touched on Bitcoin NFTs. So
no, we did. Wait, Biggie hit that up front. Yeah, Biggie nailed it.
Yeah, we touched upon it lightly. I think I
not
would
for the title, not to be a title topic. But go ahead.
No. I think we touched upon it lightly. I'm more interested in like having Mark next week and having him school us on it, because I think he'll be able to bring a lot more interesting POVs to the conversation.
Okay. So I'll follow. Here's what I'll do. I'll follow up on this Uniswap stuff. By the end of the episode, I'll have an answer for you there about like what the just a one line answer of what the technicalities there are. But I want to dive deep into both Bitcoin NFTs and then this proposal for Uniswap next week.
Sure.
Biggie, one thing that is more short term that made the news was proof of conference.
Yeah.
So there was a proof of conference mint, was there not? Can you kind of take us through being a proof holder yourself?
Yeah. So, oh man, I'm bullish, and you look up Kevin Rose's latest tweet, which I'm just fucking stoked on. Yeah, proof of conference coming up, I think May 10th or May 13th. But I'm very, very bullish on it. Look who's gonna be doing one of his daily live interactive NFTs people. I am, like there was a lot of controversy, whatever you want to call it, regarding the conference, and I don't want to belabor the point and everything. You guys can go read up on it or check on some previous episodes, but this just proves my case, in my opinion, that these things are not easy to pull off, and to bring in artists of the caliber of Beeple and others that will be announced later, it's not cheap. And so I'm really stoked on the fact that Proof is trying to set a very high bar for a specific sector in the NFT world, which is the fine art sector. And I think that it's going to be one for the books. I was able to claim one free Proof Collective members were able to claim one free ticket. And then everything else was up for grabs for oddities and Moonbirds.
Did they change that? Did they change that, Biggie? Because I thought initially when we talked about this that people were up in arms because even the holders were going to have to buy a pass.
So the thing is, originally it was going to be Proof Collective members got one free ticket, but also had a chance to buy an extra one, because usually when you go to these things, you bring your +1, and so some people got very dismayed about it, because I think the conference it's not big. It's 4,000 people, I think, max.
Yeah.
So if Proof Collective was able to mint or get half of the supply, well, it was gonna not allow other people to come in, but their team corrected course and offered the tickets to everybody else. And again, there's that, and there's a bunch of other stuff. You know how crypto Twitter can get, but I find it really. You want to talk about FOMO, Gif? I'm not gonna be there, dude. I'm not gonna fucking be there, man.
What do you do with your mint pass? You selling your mint pass?
Yeah, let's talk about that, because I am
concocting
I'll buy for
things
$1
or ideas. I don't know what I want to do with it. I am running through different ideas or options in my head for it. I honestly, one of the things that I want to know is if I can have a friend or somebody else mint for me, because there's going to be live minting experiences. I mean, can you imagine getting a chance to live mint an edition with Beeple? Are you fucking kidding me?
That's fucking wild.
It kills me, man. Honestly, just the ability to get somebody else to do it for me, which I think will be available, great. But just the thought that I'm gonna miss it, and then it's like the Genesis conference. It's like it's for good reasons. I'm gonna be doing other stuff. I don't know. I'm just trying to gaslight myself.
I feel your dismay, because I think that this with like ETH Denver and VCon, again, I think these better organized, more focused conferences are really going to be where the good energy and the alpha is. I think this is going to be one of the top conferences of the year. I am in LA, so Biggie, I was going to say, are you crashing with me or not? Are you going to come crash at my spot? But that sucks that you're not. Yeah,
I know, man. Hey, but I will be getting back via LA. So when I am there, hopefully this secret show you've been concocting and not telling us about is live. I would love to visit it, take part, Have
Hell
fun.
yeah.
Support you, my brother.
Quick
Oh,
plug.
fucking
Yo,
awesome.
yo, we didn't even say it on GM Web3 this morning. Our pilot for the new show.
Oh, really?
All right, should I just say the name?
Yes,
The
yes,
name.
finally.
All right, yo, if you stuck around till this point, I'm very excited about the pilot. This is our first ever live studio video podcast, right? So we do these awesome, these connections, these live talks where we've got the heads up display and we're all in our own separate areas. But like, we really want to keep upping our production quality on the Web3 network, trying different show formats, and how do we keep getting more accessible, better quality for everybody out there, right? And so this new show is one of the first new pilots that we've been working on. I've been doing it here in LA, working away, trying to figure out, a whole editing thing, whatever. But we have a partner in Hollywood now called Nova 3. It's the first ever members only Web3 like club in LA, and they basically are giving us a space. And so we have a pilot, the new show, and we haven't even said the name yet, so I'm very excited to share. The name is Fuck You Money. That's it. Fuck You Money. That's the name of the show, and it's aspirational. It's fuck you money, bro. It's about carving your own path in this new digital renaissance, this crazy fucking world that we're in, where we've got new ways to success, and also a middle finger to the man and these outdated systems that don't serve us anymore, right? That's what the show is all about. It's about tech, it's about culture, it's about design, and trying to talk about, we get in the weeds here a lot. This is about, taking a step up to some of these higher level, bigger conversations about what's happening in our world and what affects us degens and our Web3 lifestyle in the space. So that pilot is dropping tomorrow. I think it's ready. I want to drop it tomorrow. So it's like, pay attention for this, because we're going to be talking a lot about it, and we're going to be trying to get these go, maybe bi-weekly first and then weekly. But we're going to be connecting with people, our friends here in LA, bringing them into the studio, doing live interviews. Oh shit, we got a teaser.
Nice.
Yo, we got a fucking teaser, bro. Oh shit, it's really happening.
Dude,
this is we're gonna see the title, the little title. We got a temporary title here coming in.
Let's go.
Oh shit. Nice.
Let's get some claps. Get some claps.
NFTGO.
This is, look, as a small team without a bunch of big resources, pulling shit together to make new shows, like actual high quality studio shows happen. It's a lot of work that goes into this. I'm very excited to share this with y'all, and I hope you love it. I hope when this drops tomorrow, I think, on the Web3 network, that y'all share it and you like it and you get involved. Because it's been a lot of work in the background to get this thing ready.
Mike Erlinson saying,
That's
dope.
Awesome,
will they release on the channel? Of course. Web3 Network, baby. We're adding shows all the time. We definitely want to grow this network out, and that's part of it. It's getting new IP, new quality, like in person is definitely where we want to get to. That's 100% a part of what we want to be doing. So, yeah, love this GIF. I also,
and we have a new.
Are we calling it Foom?
I'm speechless. This looks awesome.
Fuss?
It's Fuss. Yeah, F-U money sign. So fuck you money, F-U money sign. It's the Fuss pod. And we have our first, our second female co-host, Kelly Pantaleone. And that's our first guest there, Heroin from IRL Alpha, shouting them out. But Kelly is the one who's helping hook this up and is actually going to be joining us as my regular co-host on the Fuss pod on Fuck You Money. And I'm so excited, bro. Dude, it's a lot of work.
Congrats, dude. This is awesome. I love it.
Great job, GIF. All right. Okay, so you guys got that teaser, that epic teaser. We can't wait to put that out. Hopefully tomorrow. Hopefully you'll be seeing that episode tomorrow here on the network. Excited for that. We did have like a quick breaking thing that was put in chat. NFT Cutie said Squiggles was being investigated. I want to up front, say that I think this was a rug. I think this was another project that attempted to do Squiggles. I'm just like looking at this. So federal grand jury investigating founders behind Squiggles NFT project for wire fraud, money laundering. That was via a court filing. And then we see like Belford saying this is not the Squiggles that move. Let's say good Squiggles rug alert. I think this wasn't Art Blocks. People are starting to say should clarify that this isn't the Art Blocks project. So that's good. Can
you imagine like what it must have been like in this, like going up there and telling somebody's like, sir, we need to look into Squiggles. They're up to some bad shit. Fucking squiggles. It's like, what?
I'm sure that person is not fun at parties. Okay, we have been talking about that. I'm not going to give too much airtime to that because it seems like that's kind of a no story with the it being not the squiggles.
Hey, you know, I need to check the price of squiggles. Like maybe they went down a little bit. You know, right?
That's a good
But Marty's out there hunting, sniping away.
Where is the old Marty? I would love to see it. We've been trying to cover this story here on the network for a long time. We're not going to spend too much time, but there is a trailer that I want to watch. So I'm excited to watch this trailer. I'm a big fan of the Premier League. I'm a big fan of Chelsea Football Club. Gifted is a Manchester fan himself, so like obviously getting more into sports collectibles is and you know just their proliferation is good. I want to make sure I have this on audio. Let's watch this film. I'm not in Sorare. I think fantasy football and there being a collectible aspect is dope, but I'm just not in it. So let's watch, see what we can do.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Big Premier League weekend, huh?
Yeah, you got your team sorted?
Almost, you. Alex, mate, don't do the same as last week. Get that squad submitted before the deadline, yeah?
Yeah. Boom, game changer. I'm going to be dominating with him all season.
I mean, he's sick, but look who I have. Nobody's getting past my centre back.
No. My midfield maestro begs to differ, and I've got the best striker in the league up front.
Hey guys, you need to get your lineups finalized now.
And I can tell you that we can already see these young players making a huge difference on the leaderboard.
This is sick. I have to break it up, but this is dope.
This is going to be huge.
I'm telling you guys, we're looking at some future Sorare legends here.
He's been running right on the wing all day. He's just so impressive for such a young player. What a standout player he was today. Easily man of the match for me.
Dude, all right. So this is literally this is FIFA Ultimate Team on the blockchain. This is going to be huge.
My first reaction, this is a fantasy football platform that has an NFT related, obviously utility, not the opposite around. That's what I used to think Sorare was with this NFT project that was trying to do fantasy football. Absolutely the opposite way around. They're just marketing that as a fantasy football platform. Hey, we're going to add NFTs to this and it's going to be really dope. Wow.
Yeah, this is gonna, like, we've, you know what? Again, what's another call that I've made? I've been talking about how big sports NFTs are gonna be. This is gonna be huge. This is gonna change the fucking game.
They didn't talk about NFTs once in that trailer.
They don't need
the whole fucking point. I agree that, but that's what I'm trying to say. Like, they're just marketing it to English Premier League fans that want to play fantasy football. Not fucking hard.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That's a great ad, man. I wish they would have done that when they first initially launched. I partook, and I have to say I have to check in on it because I know I have Cristiano Ronaldo. I don't think he's playing though anymore, is he? A big fan. It's just yeah, like I got late into this thing.
So Ronaldo's doing his victory lap playing for Al Nassr in Saudi Arabia and getting paid like $6 million a day, or like $600,000 a day or something, just to fucking be a mascot. He's on his way out, but he's cashing in, bro.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be able to use him in the lineup though. That's what I meant. I came in late to this whole fantasy sports thing. Like I never really understood it. I only started getting into it when. Yeah, like it was only until they started putting like UFC on the map with this that I was like, oh shit, like you can kind of do this with UFC too. And like that's really just like my main thing. My father-in-law played professional soccer, so like that's kind of like who I watch the games with most, and I love it. I'm a big fan. Talk about this one is like I remember when it came out and I was like, let's jump in. Got a couple of decks. I still have them there. I just never really did anything because of what you just said, Q. I was like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? This lineups and do this and do that. But I remember even when they launched, like it was like a bum rush to like get in there, and people have been very bullish on it. Them and the Chili's guys also. Like I think like they too have really understood how to play the sports market, especially the sports betting market, I guess you want to call it. I mean, is it not?
Fantasy football is not sports betting, and fantasy football is a very
but if you can appreciate your card and like sell it for a lot more value, because I think that's what you can do with Sorare. Like you have the players, you do the lineups, but obviously you start leveling them up.
This is wait. So this is where the grade it gets really interesting here, because FIFA and some of these games where you're basically playing fantasy sports and they have their own, tradable assets, have been indicted and under investigation and going through litigation about, selling these to kids and basically it being gambling. So it's like the laws are going to be very different from country to country, and they're going to skirt around. It's going to be a total cat and mouse match in terms of, is this gambling or not? To me, it's the exact same thing as gambling. It's tweaking the same things, and now you've got the financialization of the underlying assets in new ways. So I think of it as gambling. That doesn't mean that it is legally. That's a whole different conversation. But to me, like, why are people going to get so fucking addicted to this? It's because it is the addictive personality, the same dopamine rushes. When you crack a pack, you get a new player, your team does good, you're investing in these different teams, putting them together, and then you get to watch the real shit happen, just like in fantasy football or fantasy sports. Like, dude, there's so much money in sports, and then when you you add in some of that overlap with gambling, like, dude, this is why
it's not just the gambling either, right, Gif? It's the fact that it's a communal experience. We like to talk a lot about IRL here, and with sports, and if you add the NFT function to it and a bit of gambling, I mean, it's just gasoline on fire. Like, I'm pumped about this because I think this is going to be maybe my best shot to onboard some friends that I've literally, I've been like banging on the table for fucking years and they just don't listen. I think finally they'll get this.
Can we pull up Cam's comment too? Because Cam worked at Electronic Arts, is very familiar with FIFA, and so he's saying, yes, this is it. Seamless integration of blockchain tech without mentioning NFTs. What Q was saying, Cam gets it because he's literally worked it. Yeah,
I was planning on pulling this up like in the housekeeping part of the episode, but Cam actually had a related tweet that I really was vibing with earlier today. Mass adoption isn't billions of people entering the space. It's when user experience and value blockchain tech provide is integrated without people even knowing about the tech. This was like hours ago, but it fits directly into this conversation.
Yeah, man.
Put that in the chat, bro. Cam Taylor.
Honestly, it's so mind blowing the listeners that we have sometimes. Like I love that's such a big component of this show. I just want to shout out our audience. You guys are fucking awesome. Like I hope at some point in time you're willing to come up on stage and dox yourselves or I don't know. It's just really cool. Thanks for your comments. It's always great reading them.
I don't have any data in front of me. It seems like you guys aren't big fantasy football players. When I say fantasy football, I mean like the NFL, right? Is huge here in America. I have a group chat that I'm with, that I play fantasy football with. There's 12 of us in there that have had a league since we were in high school. Fantasy football, the way that I had this thought like 2 years ago, maybe even a year ago. Fantasy football are the first at-scale use case for a DAO that you see in like regular life. They don't call it DAOs, but what you have is a decentralized user base. Again, 12 of us messaging over Twitter or messaging over in DMs or text message chat or whatever app you want to use to message, where there is a pot of money that is being coordinated on. And right now there's no obviously good tooling, like good DAO tooling for that. But it's one of the only spots that you see other than Web3 where people are able to coordinate around money in decentralized locations at scale. Full stop. Like that's only like I can't think of the next number 2 one where people are coordinating around money and like messaging than fantasy football. If there was a fantasy football DAO tooling app where people could actually put their money into and also
this
earn
might
money at the
be
same
it.
Have
time.
mercy.
They might be able to build that into this type of stuff. Like I don't know enough about Sorare, and I think this is something that we should maybe again dedicate more time to on our shows to get on, because I think this type of thing, if it's executed well, and Marty's making points about maybe some of their weaknesses that, again, I don't know blind spots because I haven't used Sorare, but if this is executed well, because they've got Premier League support and partnerships lined up, and they've got access to footage and people like that, this could be a top shot moment for the biggest sport in the world. That's why I think this has potential to be absolutely massive, and why we should all pay attention to it. What I really hope, besides the fact that it's executed well, the tech works, and they're smart enough to like not fuck up their supply like NBA Top Shot did, is that longevity. Can they sustain value, or does this just pop off over 6 months and then fucking die and become another thing that's not supported? That's what I really am going to be curious to see. But I think in the meantime, not financial advice, Alien River. Nothing we do here is financial advice. We are not financial advisors. We just talk about shit we like. I think this has a lot of potential.
I want to get to the CNBC article talking about this Sorare Premier League partnership here just relatively quickly. Don R saying fantasy run by a decentralized smart contract driven platform. You mentioned Marty's comment. Cam's Taylor's comment says, yes, seamless integration of blockchain check without mentioning NFTs. Marty's saying that the Kevin Rose situation crashed the squiggle floor, so they are around 14-ish, he's saying. We're getting more Premier League conversation. Jack Hideaway saying, Sorare's been at it for so long, even before Top Shot. Props to them. Great example of patience. Yeah, flowers to these guys.
Yeah,
flowers to these guys. In the article, it says Sorare is a $4.3 billion soccer game. 3 million users worldwide. This is kind of wild to actually say out loud. Like, Sorare has 3 million users worldwide.
I'm sure that like they're pulling a bunch of data, and like I'd be interested to know how they're getting these numbers, or if they're even looking back at like, or maybe that's just number of like unique wallets within a certain platform. That doesn't mean active users. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be really interested to know how this goes. So anyway, maybe we can get somebody from Sorare on the show. If y'all know anybody tapped in at Sorare, tell them to come on the show.
So I'm just checking it out here. I wasn't able to access my wallet because I guess I haven't logged in a long time. But dude, look at this. Almost fell back. 20 ETH.
That's in your
market
wallet?
on it. No, I wish.
Okay.
I thought the same thing. I was like, are these mine? Like, fucking sell. But I'm getting they're gonna give. I haven't logged in ages, and so. But man, like, look it up here. MLB, NBA. I mean, to your point, they're obviously gonna bring out more people. Hey, oh my gosh. All right.
Yeah, they're competing directly with, it seems, Dapper Labs and Flow for those IPs.
Yeah.
And Don R is asking if anyone can see NFTs and DAOs owning sports. I mean, look, WAGMI United, I think is a great experience to watch. I don't know if by owning an NFT you're actually an owner of the team. I don't know if that's part of the utility. Maybe y'all correct me, but that's kind of like being an early investor, and something like that. You got different utilities.
Look at the participants: 112,000, 85,000, 140. Yeah, man. And it's been around for some time, so people have already been using it. They're just, I think, like pouring gasoline on the fire now. Something interesting.
Okay, we're at 2 hours, so we're gonna have to wrap up here right now, folks. But yeah, we should get a deep dive into Sorare, man. Like there's no reason. We've said that a lot in the last. I feel like just in the past week and a half, we're like seeing so many things that we want to kind of dive into, man. It's good to see. It's good to see. I love the energy early in 2023 here.
And
I love the energy from y'all
as well.
Is that
Pablo? Pablo actually put a new Jack Butcher.
I can't.
Yeah, that's the on-chain designs that he's putting up for consideration, I guess, or something. But and it tells you like how many you have to burn, and You know,
okay. Well, check that out. Apparently, Jack Butcher's. If you're in the checks or interested in what he's doing with checks, check that out. Thanks for sharing that.
I'll drop that link here as well. I don't think anyone on YouTube can actually see that. So
yeah, because
Biggie, Biggie, if you can get that link from him, yeah,
I have it.
They can't. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's right there.
Okay,
I put it in the chat.
Awesome. All right, I'm dropping it. There you go. Okay, folks, we have to get out of here for the last time this week. Not the last time ever, the last time this week. It was a pleasure to talk about the NFT and Web3 space, to experience it with everybody. You guys are awesome as always. I mean, the quality of what's being brought here in this show, not only from us three, from you two, but just from everybody here participating's been pretty high to start 23, man. I think we talked about it post show yesterday, Biggie, but we're liking the momentum from all of y'all that are participating as well.
Yeah, and I think
100%.
Dude, the Jess Yatrosky thing is a prime example of what this community is growing into, which I think is a real core powerhouse of like serious people, like the Web3 lifestylers that are here that care. It's fucking dope, dude. So shout out all of y'all that have been participating, getting after it, as Q would say in the comments over there, and showing up in our spaces. Yeah, we appreciate it.
Love it. Here's the Jack Busher for your consideration. They're related to the VV checks. Okay, so we will get out of here on today's episode. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Biggie, I'll let you have the last word, the true last word. I'm not coming back in. We're going out NFT live outro with you.
I'm gonna shout out our crew over here, because usually you're the one to do it, but I just want you to know that I enjoy looking at the conversation. Sometimes you might see me distracted. It's because I'm reading all your comments, but you guys rock. Don, Jax, Pablo, Squashman, Cam, Knox. I mean,
yo,
dude, you guys
I love the way you said
amazing.
Squash Man, bro. You just said it's Squash Man.
It's Squash Man. You're the rock, dude.
It's
you
Squash
guys
Man
are
way.
So fucking cool. Like, you guys come in here all the time, spend 2 hours with us, participate, ask questions, drop links and knowledge, man. Like, I don't know. I've never been in a space like that before. It keeps me coming back. So I want to thank you. And it's going to be a long weekend until we see each other, because I will miss you. And I will miss my two co-hosts here, which I also would like to give props to for having me here. It's like not easy. Fucking Gif like does his spaces and then jumps into this. I don't know what he's drinking, smoking, or doing, but that takes a lot of energy and focus, man. So props to you. And then Q always here, like managing the comms and the conversation. I just sit up here and fucking talk all comfy and shit. Like, you guys are awesome. I love you all. Yeah. So
the answer,
I'll see you next week.
The answer is meth.
True.
Oh.
Special meth from the
total
speakeasy
sense.
guys.
It's mixed with pre-workout, so it's very special meth.
Right on. I love you guys. We'll see you next week.
Fuck you money tomorrow. World premiere.